Hello, my name is Harold Swifty Shaver, and we are here today at the Scotts Run Museum and Rail Trail in Osage, West Virginia, having a conversation with Al Anderson. How you doing today?
Swifty, I'm doing fine. Such a great day, man.
Well, what would you like to talk about today?
Well, I want to talk about Osage and the many things that's happening to Osage and has not happened to Osage. And one of the concerns that I have, we've been here and I'll be 87 years old, May the 5th. I've seen a lot in all these different times. But as time has went on, and everything left here, and mine's all left here, you can see there's not very many people here. But my understanding is there's going to be a whole new town, possibly coming in to Osage. And I do know that I've understood and found out and heard there's billions of dollars that belongs to these different communities. And we had a meeting at the shack with Delegate Hanson and Delegate Dean that organized that. And when it got back to Charleston, Mitch Carmichael, who was in charge of that, and the governor was supposed to have 11 more people on this board to divvy up this money in how it's supposed to be helping the different communities. But that never happened. But one young lady wrote an article about it, and I want to, we got documents there where they showed where they're spending money here and spending money there. And at one time, see, the majority of the money came from Osage, West Virginia, and Scotts Run, which was billions of dollars. And then someone came through here once and said, look, there's billions of dollars over these towns. And my question to those in Charleston is, why isn't that money coming? We have programs that we want to do here for young folks. I was chairperson of the Police Athletic League for a few years, and we trained a lot of people. We helped a lot of these young folks. Some would come back, they see now, 20 years later, Al thanked me for being those. We need those programs here today. So some of those money should come here. But in the meantime, this town should be probably one of the most beautiful towns in the state of West Virginia. And in Charleston, it's sadly, because even today, it's like, don't go to Osage, And when I look in the paper, I see, 135 indictments in Montague County, 90 here just a couple days ago, and but it's still the stigma, don't go to Osage. But now it seems like they're going to bring a whole new town here, which is gonna, I don't know if they even call it Osage or not, just don't go to Osage. But my situation also, this was one of the few non-segregated towns in Montague County. And as I told some of the folks that are in charge of what is going to be going on here, that just like that picture right there, we want to make sure that as many people look like me as look like them. See, we have, and even those 19 nationalities that came here, see, we all live together. And I tell people, we didn't need two schools here. We need a black and white school. See, we all live together in homes, some of them the same homes. See, so we do not need two schools. But it's always been a situation where, forget about Osage. And I have pictures to show also that they said Osage was closed down. See, never was closed down. And if you don't close it properly, it never was done. And then being the chairperson of the Scotts Run Public Service District for 15 years, 60 to 75 years old, did about $40 million worth, and caught a lot of headaches from some of the folks that was not on the board at the time, but then later on they put them on the board and really caused havoc with the people here, and that'll be shown also. But one of the main things is how we've been treated as a town, which was one of the most prosperous towns in Montague County. So that's part of my big issue today.
Well, I've heard stories by coming down here to the museum of how things were done, and it's good to hear you tell the story and how things really happened here.
And being at the public service office down there, Bob Martin and myself, both was on for 15 years. And about the last 2 years, they put these guys on the board that wasn't allowed to be on the board. And all these folks work, beautiful place down there that we built, that green building down there. It was like 3 young ladies in the office and we had 3 trucks, you know, that had everything. If in case if somebody had a problem at their home, you know, like a water leak or something, see, our trucks would be up there in about an hour. As for now, when Mub took over there, you don't know when they're going to get out to get something taken care of. And when they took us off the board, we assumed that the folks they put on the board was going to continue, but they did not continue it. What they did was they turned it over to Mub. It was 6 months. We went to court, you know, about what they did to our public service. And the one young lady came to the shop, and she went to work that morning on a regular morning. They told her she had 20 minutes to get her stuff and get out. And then that ended for her and the other workers too. And the one young man, they all had good insurances. And the one young man who just died here about a year ago, he had just got cancer of the face. They kept him on for a couple, because they didn't know where all the pumps were and everything. So they kept him on for a couple of weeks, you know. Then he was fired immediately. And he was fired immediately, and all the others. So, and the young man and his girlfriend and wife, they just had a new baby. So here, you're cut off from everything. No 2 weeks notice, no nothing. Just get your things and get out. They left the lady on for about a month. That was our manager there, because they had to find out all the ins and outs of the workings of the public service. And then after they got through, they fired her, you know, pretty much immediately after that. She did sue, and she got a sizable amount of money. And my situation with all these folks were, whatever amount she got, all those employees should, even today, they should get the same thing. They lost their jobs, they lost their insurance. And I don't know what, and the young, I talked to the brother-in-law of the one that died. He just died from cancer, and he said he wasn't going to appointments. Well, if you don't have an insurance, you see, you know, what are you going to do, see? Yeah. So, and the young man with see, all these things that came on at the spur of the moment, you know, you're just done. And the folks they put on the board, they was nasty to us. They put them on the board 2011. And I really fault the county commission. I did a program with the county commission, City of Morgantown, MUB, and the PSC. And at one time, Scotch Run was one of the best public service districts in the state of West Virginia. Mm-hmm. And every other year, I would go just to do an update on the system and all. Well, now we go down there, see, we've already done $16 million. And nobody else has done anywhere close to that. So when the people that would come out of the room, everybody come out the door is teaching a class, everyone come out of that room, they say, we work with Mr. Anderson. We work with Mr. Anderson, see. And most of the time, Mr. Anderson was the only one who was persuasion there. But, you know, it's like all of the things that you work on to do all the right things. And at the end of this, at an executive session at the Montague Courthouse, the guy that they put on there, that they had all, and what busted them down was all the emails, not at the county commission, but at this one guy's home. And the people at the county commission, he just twisted them around, even to the end of it. And when you do such a good job, it's like, well, they had to find this lawyer to see how to file charges against me and Bob after all those years. And made it look like people were afraid to come here to pay their bill. They paid the bill for about 13 years before they put this guy on the board. And he also was arrested for pushing that young lady around at the office, which, the long time that I managed there, for all the years, no one was allowed in that office except office people. See? Nobody, no board members was allowed in there, just the people who worked in there. And he went in there, pushed that woman around, they did arrest him, but he still stayed on that board for all those years. And then two people, took me off the board and Bob Martin off the board and put these two folks on the board that did not even live here, and they knew it. The commissioner knew it, but they let them stay on the board also. And there's a book that's why I give a lot of credit to Chuck Sell, who was the investigative reporter, who came to see me about every day. And he's the one that wrote the book. There's a book that thick that I have here today that shows all the bad things they have done. And that's why, to me, when it gets wherever it's supposed to go, these folks that lost their job for no reason at all should all be compensated. And I'm saying that to whoever, whether it's dealt with in Charleston or Washington, D.C. or wherever, because I intend because, I hate to see these things happen, especially when you work so hard. Of all the workings I've done to be a good person, don't charge no money for it. And at the end of it, they will make you a crook. And so many people still feel they had to close it for some reason like that. And one of the commissioners had all of our documents for 10 years. 10 years. And accountants wondered why that one commissioner wanted all your documents once a month. And when he left the county commission, they called me at the shop, said, Al, there's a box over here he's not here anymore, for somebody to come and get that box. Within a half hour, someone goes over to get the box. There's no box there, see? And they called the same guy up on that hill, the one that's the troublemaker. Called him. This beautiful building we had down there. He acted like people was afraid to come pay the bills. They paid the bills all those years, you see? And let this guy get away with twisting all of them around. And there's going to be some pictures that show how he started, when we first started. We had to deal with him before 2000. They put on the board 2011, and was headaches from here. And one of the sheriffs had nerve enough to say, oh yeah, we did have some problems down here from time to time. You didn't have no problem till you put that knucklehead on that board, and those other two guys. And then they treated them like, if you can imagine when the insurance guys came, because they talked backwards and forth from the mud people, the county commission, about insurance, and they would they want to know if you had insurance, if you had any big disasters. See, just being funny, do you have hurricane insurance? That kind of thing, just to be nasty. And so that was the reality of that, But I hope at some point in time, all those folks, I don't even know where they are like today, but I'll never forget that young lady standing in my door, went to work. And there was a beautiful place down there, all dressed nice and all, comes to the front of my door. Said, Al, told me 20 minutes to get my stuff and get out. Yeah, the newspaper called me and said that they're sending a reporter up because they said there's 2 cop cars outside the building, and nobody knew what was going on there, but they were starting to take stuff out of there, and they wanted me to come down. But they said, I'm sending a reporter up, and I went down with him, because everybody is confused about why are they taking those things out of there. And so once they took everything out, that's when we got together, and it was in court for about 6 months, and then finally Chuck Sell, who worked with me an awful lot, almost every day, to show us what happened. And in that book that you'll see here in a while, that all the emails they did from that guy's house to the county commission. And that's why the county commission, I don't know how a person could twist those folks. If you've been there, now We started in 1997. So right after that, that's when the one guy that they put on the board started giving us problems, before 2000. So, you know, you got 6-year appointments. So in probably my second, that's when they put him on the board. But then they had to wait till my time ran out to take me and Bob off the board and put the other guys on the board. And if you think about it, 2 people that did not live here weren't allowed to be on the board. Plus, they didn't have time to even go to be certified. And without, saw them up at, they told us that they were gonna have a meeting up at the county commission, but they knew some of us would be coming over there, but they changed, and they went to the city of Morgantown, went up to there, and then here's these 2 guys sitting in there, dealing with all these funds, these federal monies, see? Federal monies. And if I had found there's a lawyer in town sent somebody out for me to send some papers over to him. I didn't even ask for that, you know. He said, go, have Al send me. And one thing he asked me, Al, did they ever want to try to bring charge or anything against you? And at that time, I didn't even have those other papers that I found. And I was off the board when I got those. They don't even know I have that, basically, to file charge against me and Bob Martin. But what they did, they had, we had one accountant for all those years. So when they took us off the board, they had 3 accountants to try to figure out how they could do. If you come from Osage, you better have all your ducks in line, see? And by managing $1 million operation in DC, you know, Al knows everything about. Sometimes when they put people on the board, you know, it's almost like they never wanted this to happen in the first place. So the engineers started working. And this is probably right around 2000, a little bit before, and it was going to do this to a project. But they had no intention of doing it, actually. And I have the picture there. So the engineer said, Al, the county bishop, they're dragging their feet about that grant that comes from the governor. So I went over to county commission, you know. When they see me sitting back there, you know, it's like, well, what's this guy doing here, you know? So finally at the end, they said, Al, you have anything? I said, yeah. They said you're dragging your feet about getting that grant from the governor, $1.5 million grant. So the big laugh that day was, Al, why don't you have the governor bring the check in? Well, 2 weeks later, there was a governor, and handed me that check. See, the pictures are all there also. So sometimes, you know, you think that you can outsmart somebody, but you know, you don't know, you know. And then after that, we went on to do probably nearly $40,000. And I had a lot of other things where the one MUG director, their contract was going to run out June the 12th. But they called me over for June the 9th. I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about they're not checking those pumps like they were supposed to. So we had about 15 guys there, you know, and they're all sweating, you know, because they're going to have to tell a lie, see. So when I got there, I said, well, we don't want you to think that we're ganging up on you. Into that conversation with them, there was probably only one person in there that was in charge. And when I left there, you know, they didn't get that new contract. And June the 12th, which I didn't even realize, the contract ran out. So that's when we started doing our own billing. And once we started doing our own billing, that's when they started working on how they could get rid of me and Bob. And then after building that brand new building there, this guy, he talked the county commission people in, not meeting down there, because people were afraid to go and pay their bill in Osage. But I was mentioning about the don't go to Osage part, said on the radio, you know, and I said, don't go to Osage. I said, well, it's like this, guys. If anybody's gonna come to Osage and think you're gonna get killed or anything, bring your killer with you. You know, you could, at that time, you couldn't see 5 people walking in Osage, but the worst place, and even today, don't go to Osage. And that was going to be one of my themes of don't go to Osage. And then when I looked at all the indictments in all those places, the only place you don't see any indictments, is Osage.
That's right.
And then when this town comes back, I just want people to understand, if this was one of the only non-segregated towns in this county, we want it to look just like all those things look like when we have our street fairs. That's what we want to look like, because we all got together. We don't, as I told, a white person would take in a black person and vice versa. See, you could, all these communities that people came from, all these nationalities, all other countries, see, they all blended in. And the one thing that molded people together was they all had the same nickel and the same dime. See,
Yes.
nobody can be better than anybody else. But this was a beautiful town, and I would certainly not want to see this town be, people would come in and make it look like something very different.
Yes.
That would hurt me. That's why I wear this Osage shirt. I got a call from in here. I gotta wear this Osage shirt because every street fair I wear this, and people always ask me, "Where'd you get that shirt? Where'd you get that shirt?" And then there's the other part of the my 43 years, at the shop up there, which is, and I know when I do this, I'm gonna probably get beat up a little bit with how I do business with the county. I do business with the county, but I don't do much business with the state. And but then it's almost like, first of all, you never did anything at Osage. You closed Osage down, which used to be unincorporated on the road up on the the interstate, but you don't see that anymore, see, because there's the book there also that shows you never closed Osage. Osage was never closed, and it shows in the book.
So they took that sign down.
They took that sign down. Yeah, it's not there. But I go up there. Someone said this. No, I don't see that sign up there anymore, because in your county, you can have whatever, you did it. And then I got a thing. Mary Jane Bay had a thing, a little paper, this that Osage is closed properly. So in that Golden Hill magazine, we show how properly it was closed. Just say, if you read more down, you understand nothing was closed properly. But in Montague County, yeah, you might get away with that. But when they get to Charleston, they're not going to back you up on that. And see, and I have all kind of documents that show that this lady is saying, if you close a town down, you have to have a petition, all the voters, before you close a town. You can't just go around. See, we had police officers here for a number of years, and they wrote about $365 worth of tickets. They owed around $70,000. And then at one thing it says, all the bills now who's going to pay that $70,000, to the state, which they never paid. But in the meantime, like with my shop, up there, to me it's like, I don't live off the shop. If anybody knows me, like yourself or anybody, people give me things, if people don't have money, they'll still get their work done,
Yeah.
So I do as much free work, and here at my age and still going to work, I don't work for if I can just pay the electric and the gas and for my supply, that's all I care about. I don't live off of that. If I added up all the money that it cost me to operate, I probably would have closed down a long time ago. But see, and like here, well, we have that luncheon every third Thursday of the month, you see. I invite more people than anybody, because see, there's a lot of lonely people. See, that shop is not fixing shoes any more than it is. I was thinking about a program that I did, just like that PAL program I had over there to help young folks. See, I had what you call like the empty nest. When the youngsters are all gone, they're together now. They may be 20 years, you see. But when one of them passes, see, then it gets to be the emptier nest.
Yeah.
So many people that they might bring a shoe, but a lot of times they want conversation. See, either the man has died or the wife has died, so they're by themselves now. So that's why when a lot of people come, you know, I invite them down here. And you notice, sometimes we have 30, 35 people down here in this little place because a lot of times people don't have anywhere to go, you see. And then before I got stuck with what was going on at the public service, I wanted to start another program. I had about 30 sponsors. It was called Hands. For these young folks, instead of on the phones all the time, it'd be hands. And all these different sponsors would be able to teach these kids how to do woodworking. A lot of older folks that need their porches fixed, they need this, need work done, you know, but would teach them some to work with their hands and learn skills. And that's what we need today. And that's the program I want to start here now, because these young folks are having such a hard time now in life. You see, many are committing suicide. When I look in that paper every day, sometimes the whole list is domestic violence. Domestic violence, you see. And I want to help. See, you know, God gave me the gift of being able to give, see? And don't ask for nothing. You know, doing with the gospel group, that there's a picture there. So from 2017 till now, we've raised, with the exception of maybe a couple of $1,000, $100,000 in those 7 years, those kids in Uganda. And many of them went through school, some of them are working jobs, and we still do that. You know, we traveled, I was saying, hundreds of churches, hundreds of rest homes, and all the time. And I see, and sometimes when I see people, you know, and it really irks me a lot when they talk about age. Well, here I am, almost 87 years old. And I will guarantee you one thing, many of the folks that say all these things, you know, they could not challenge me at all, even with a mental test. And I'm saying all those folks in those offices are doing all the political stuff, you know. And one of my things that I want to deal with this year is working with youngsters from 18 to 35, and seniors from 65 to 90, because in Washington D.C., it's already been on paper on some that you'll cut Social Security, going to cut Medicare, and they don't vote for things that help these kids in the. It don't help the kids like somebody want to help them with their paying the student loans, things like that. But it's like they don't do a whole lot of things. I was thinking about, you know, with Joe Manchin, you know, which I was saying, Joe Manchin couldn't get voted in. All the good things, it's come to West Virginia, but they couldn't vote him back in. And all the others that are there, like there's one congressman there now, you know, vote for everything against West Virginia. And about the money part of it, all the money is coming through here that they are spending. The one side never voted for any of it, but you're spending that money. And a lot of that money, and I have a whole bunch of articles also, you know, and it's where the money come from. Well, the monies are the monies that's owed all of these small communities, all of them. Like all these folks that worked and died in these mines over there, and all their families. And you know, on Saturday, how many stories do I hear about this lady was 2 years old when her dad died, 2 months old, 7 years old, 5 years old. The lady came from Akron, Ohio. It was raining out. She saw me with the finger on that monument down there. Her dad's name was on there. I said, your finger was right on where my dad's name was. I have to hear these stories, you see, and that's what puts it in me, you know, to talk about how we need to come more as a country and not be so divided. Right now we're divided. And when people want to talk about dictatorship, see, already into dictatorship, you know, in Washington, D.C., if 300 people vote the same way, that's like a dictatorship. And if 5 people down there run everything, and the councilman, I'm going to do a podcast at some point in time also, because I know that a lot of folks that don't think even like I think, you know, even people come to shop, I know we have different understandings of life. But see, no one talks to Al about anything, you know, because, they want to get their shoes fixed, but they sometimes know where I'm coming from. But to be in a situation we're in right now, as I tell like the 18 to 35s, see, this is your world now. You all need to get out and do things and even run for some of those offices. And those 65 to 90-year-olds, and I see all of them. You know, when I do the rest homes, you know, I can see many of these people, you know, and before my legs got bad, I would go out, and if it was 30 or 40 people there, I'd go out and touch base with all of them. Give them a handshake or a hug, and sometimes they'd hold your hand so hard, you know, that you know that they're, you know, and many folks don't even go see their, you know, their folks. So when you go to those places, you know, it's like a blessing to them. And I've done it, you know, like I say, for hundreds of times. And, but I worry more about the people that are in these offices now. You see, they're the ones, and we've all been through the middle age of life. See, the 18 to 35s, see, they haven't got their heads full of a whole lot of stuff yet. And the 65 to 90, they've been all the way through it. The ones in the middle are the ones that are almost brain dead. And when I see how people vote, and I think about people down in Charleston, you go down there for 60 days. Why can't you get things done in 60 days? Instead of going back over and over and over, we call it only spend money. Well, and the other one of the things is about the Affordable Care Act, which is Obama. See, they all hate Obama, but there's 100 million people on Obamacare. See, if they hated Obama so much, they'd get rid of all them phones and things, you know, and not take their grandchildren. But it's a good thing that all these grandchildren can get help. Grandparents can get help. Many people get help because of Obamacare. But you hate him. And that's how the world works, you know. You hate the man. And so much hate. I traveled doing my music thing. I traveled within 100 miles of here. I mean, every weekend. I'd go to all these little nooks and crannies. And I'd tell one place, and they had no money for gas or nothing, you know. One place I'd go, I said, when I come here, I come through 5 counties, one county twice, to get to your place, you see, because they all loved to hear Al. And I packed, every place I go, I'd pack. And today, I'd be reluctant to go some of those places.
Yeah.
You know, especially at night. You know, what door would I knock on? And not be dead. So, but, and then, and I know that like folks, like tomorrow starts Black History Month. See, they ain't gonna give me no Black History credit, you know, because they say, look, Al, 90% of all the music I've done, I'm the only person of my persuasion. 90%. And that's including churches. And that's including today. Well, from 59 to 62, when I was with that Fabian group, you see, you can understand that. Every place we traveled, you know, everything was segregated. But here today, you would think it would be different. But today, I think some situations are worse than it was way back then. And but I just kind of hope that that even a message, and I'm gonna do the podcast, but I'm gonna keep up with everybody that's going to Washington. Whatever you're going, I'm gonna follow your vote. I'm gonna follow how you're gonna treat this. If you know, years ago, you know, people used to come, sit on your porch, you know, they go all how they don't do that anymore, you know. Either they're on the phone or they're on TV, you know, or they have to take a picture with with a certain person, you know, to get and the one man there that's there now is running for one of the offices, you know, spend $10 million. And I was watching on TV that some of the ladies that are that get donations for running for that office, see, they're using those donations to pay for some child care for somebody. And in this country where you see people in miles line to get those boxes of food today, see? And that's sad. And then you have many of the politicians still want to vote on $7.85, but others might want $15 to $20 an hour. why would these kind of things go? But because, and to me it's like, and I know that I will get a lot of bad feedback one way or the other, but somebody got to tell the story, you see. And the one TV operation, they just got fined $587 million for being liars, for lying on these folks, see? And these are the people that they watch, see? That's they're watching. Watch those liars. And then put it in those young, and that's why the young folks that I want to do some talking with. I want that when I do the podcast, I want but one of the main things here, the money that should come to these towns. Mitch Carmichael, Governor Justice, and I got a little cute story about my little dog Yeti that I had for 15 years, and I'm gonna tell more of that later on. You know, the dog story. And people will understand it, not maybe right now, but they'll understand it later. but there's going to be just a little, you know, a little cute thing I would put in about my Yeti that I had for 15 years, and how he traveled with me, you know, everywhere I went. It went to go to work with me every day. You know, it went to when I go on my gigs. You know, if the weather was right, I'd take him on my gigs, and they went to church every Sunday morning. Matter of fact, there was one preacher that our preacher was there for a long time. He retired, and then we had a different preacher every Sunday. And when he preached us, then he went downstairs to the bathroom, and he came up and he said, "I'm not trying to be funny, but is a dog loud in church?" And everybody bust out laughing. Yeti had the best record of anybody in church, you know. Yeti, and then we'd have a business meeting, you know. And we said, "Where's the dog? Where's the dog?" And then when I was invited for dinner at somebody's house, you know. As soon as I get there, "Where's the dog?" I said, "He's home. Go back." You know, see, I could save myself a trip. I had to go back and get the dog. See, his food's already down there, you see.
See, that's a side of you that I didn't know about, that you had a dog for a long time, but the way you take care of all the cats in the neighborhood.
That's right, 15 years for the dog. And then, you know, the night that I didn't take it, it was kind of snowy like, and I didn't want to, you know. So as soon as I get home, you know where the dog was at? At the door.
Yeah.
See?
Oh, yeah.
He knew I was coming back. And he looked at me and said, "Look, man, I'm more important than you are," you know. So every time if I don't take Yeti, you know, where's the dog, you know. But, and then, you know, of course, now I have 7 cats, you know, and about 4 of them are over 15 years old, and a couple years down from there. And I've had all of them since, you know, since babies. And today, you see, I don't have to hardly tell the stories because the cats have heard it over and over and over. You know, and they like wouldn't even want to come back in the bedroom, you know. They say, "Look, man, please, you know, you've told that story and somebody else need to hear it with us." So, and then I tell folks, you know, like folks that come around me from time to time, you know, like when I do this, you know, I don't really want, you know, too many people coming around me, you know, but those are the biggest issues kind of that I have that I would like to see this country, and I would like to see young people, and I would like to work on some programs, and we need the monies here. See, the money is there, and there's no reason why this town can't be built back up like it was before, because when a man came through here, said there's billions of dollars. These are not people in West Virginia. And they all know about it, see? These billions of dollars, that's owed to these towns right here. And that's what gets to me. My dad was 72 years old when he retired from number 15 mine. In the early 50s, about 51 or 50, I was in junior high school. And my dad was 55 when I was born. He'd be 141 years old if he were still living today. And he didn't work in what you have like the continuous miners. Yeah, he didn't work in that. No, he worked the hard way.
Yeah.
You know, and I thought that my dad was. About the same age those guys. He's 30 years older than those guys. And I mean, well, he had like my work ethic. You know, he would have worked in there until he was 90, but they had a fire in the mine, and the miners didn't get to go back in. But and then music part, you know, with the Fabians for 1962. We traveled all over, everywhere, you know, all over West Virginia, Pennsylvania, parts of Maryland. And then in 1962, those guys were going to be graduating college. So I saw an article in the newspaper. Billy Ward was looking for singers. So I sent a picture and a tape, and and I know, same thing, you know, people, yeah, Hollywood, California. Well, about 2 weeks later, here comes the call. Meet me at the train station, you know, at whatever that date was. And I left, and I was gone for 20 years, you know, did music, you know, some in and not as much in California as in D.C. But then I missed that first trip because there was a contract thing with, that I had to, you know, see, I didn't have a mentor in those days. But on one of Billy Ward's jackets, I wish I had never read it, it was a young man that had a contract, but he didn't tell Billy Ward. And then one of his million sellers, you know, they held up some money for a while because, you know, with that guy. So when I got to California, we practiced a bit and all, and then we got in went in the studio, or went down to get ready to go on the next trip, and they asked the question, anybody have a contract? And I had this little contract in Pittsburgh. I didn't say anything to anybody. I got on the bus, I rode 7 days straight, 3.5 days got 3 days back. It was too late to go on that trip. So a year and a half later, Billy Ward calls, wants me to come back to California again. Went in the studio, asked what we did, what do you do New Year's Eve? And my brother called and said her dad was ill back here. So I left, didn't even tell nobody about California, just did this song, what do you do? Millions and millions of copies. I never went back. Came to D.C., me and my brother came back from D.C. to here for 3 weeks. My dad died on that third Sunday night. And he held my hand so hard, letting us know that we wouldn't see him that way anymore. The next morning they called and said he had passed. And I never went back to California. But God knows where he wants you, see. If I went back to California, I would have never been back here. You know,
Yeah.
never been back here. So that's just the many things, you know, that you deal with in life, and have a good, for almost 87 years, you know, I've had a great.
So what's your vision of Osage from this point forward?
Well, I would like to see Osage as the same way that we were years ago. And I think that Osage was such an example for any place. See, when you say today, don't go to Osage, you know, there would be, even, believe it or not, I had an article that said Osage, you know, people walked in the street, drove on the sidewalks. Well, you can see there are no sidewalks, but there were so many people, like right now, we 500 people. Just walk, you know, people came from all over. You couldn't keep people out of Osage. You say, oh, that's the way it was. I mean, this was the most, you couldn't believe how Osage, and the train, right down through there all day long, had horses and buggies, had some cars, and but Osage was just this thriving place that all these, and that's the goodness of it is we didn't even realize how important this place would be as time went on. But after the mines left and all, took all those houses off the hill, see, and then Osage is kind of dead. And then you have the people that would go around and close your town down very illegally, close the other place down illegally because it's Osage, and you can get away with it. And that's why I want to prove and show, you know, no, Osage was never, it's still right now. And if it did, they would have kept that sign up on the hill there, you see.
Yeah.
But somebody said something. If you read that Golden Seal magazine, that's what the man, but we here are a people of love and we can bring all these things back, but I want all of those folks to know in Charleston, to get some of that money in here, so we can have some programs. I mean, manage that, if we had we had one good sheriff when we had that, Police Athletic League. See, we went over to the FOP, 32 people were there, mostly officers and all different walks of life people. Well, who do they vote for to be the president? You see?
Yeah.
And I see some of these young folks come back still. Say, Al, at that time we had the boxing ring, we had workout equipment, and we had some computers, you see, for students that would come, but never got to that far, not of the students who would come in and get credits for coming out here and doing some lessons with the kids. And the other part of the program, many people, like my next door neighbors, they couldn't basically read and write. They could do all this work, like we're putting pipes in, and I guess the pipe would go, they call Al, can you let us know? They couldn't read how far, the pipe should be up or whatever,
Yeah.
You could put all of them in, but then when you get to the end of it, you didn't know, what the, what the heights were. But we're gonna have a program there. Many older people came to me that said they want to be in a program like that, because they didn't want to be in class with those 8, young people. So that was going to be if we had kept it. See, we would have been able to have older people come, even while the other kids are working out and things like that, would be able to get some teaching themselves. You see, so all these programs that we need to work around here. And I was on everything that kind of came in. They came to Al to do that, and it's like, even with my shop up here, it's not, she repairs one thing. I mean, people come to my place, knock on the door, it don't matter when it's Saturday or Sunday, you'd even like to, this is my off day today, I have more people knocking on my door, you see. I don't care, they know it's an open door,
Yeah.
You gotta bring something, but my whole life is, but one thing, Osage is my love. Since I've been back here, we've done a lot, like this place right here, and Eve Folks, who and her students made a lot of this beautiful like this, and all the pictures thing. Well, Mary Jane also, let us, have this as a museum. But we had another museum before this one. So it goes back about 30 years. Norman Jordan, and Bob Ferens, and Richard Fuller, and another young lady that was part of the old museum we had. So this is about the third place that we've had a museum. But they started a long time ago at the Sullivan House, and so we have done a whole lot of things that's been beneficial.
And you want to
here.
do more in the future.
We need to do more, and see these young folks in these communities, like this community here. How much help could we do them? And with so many people that know me, you'd be surprised the young kids, that come, to me for one, if they even need something, they need their shoes fixed, I don't charge them, nothing. But I know if we had another program like we had down here before, see, many of these youngsters that are just completely, and it's not only that also, it's the homes. You see, why are these kids committing suicide so much? And why are they running away from home? You see? See, many of these folks, their heads are stuck. This country is stuck in this nastiness, and they're killing people, they're doing all these dirty things because right now, it's a dictatorship big time. And then I look, when you watch on TV, how could we watch all those things overseas where they're killing these babies. And and I think every dictator should have their throats cut. Not bombed, kill them. And the one that, and people say, well, Al, no. The one that I would hate the most is that Yeti. They killed all. He can look outside and here's like 50,000 people, you know, that he can look out and probably, you know, eating, that's his, thing. Can just murder people. You know, and here we're in here, and if we don't watch out, we're going to be in these same situations. And why don't people wake up? Better wake up. And you know, when you talk about age, that ticks me off also, because not one of those folks in Charleston, or one of them they send to D.C., I would like for them to take a mental test with me. You know, I want to talk about age. No, you're the ones that's got all that mush in your heads, see? We know when we get in our 40s, 50s, you know how it is, we're divorce is going through, and we're in this and we're in that. You ain't got no time to be thinking. Them young folks need to be in those offices,
Yeah.
It'd be run for them. And the older folks, quit thinking about your age. You know, when I go to the rest homes, there's as many people that are in these offices right now, I would trade many of them for them to be in the rest home, as opposed to the older ones.
Yeah.
You see?
Yes.
See, the older ones ain't got all that. We went down all them roads. But they're sitting around and they're putting them in, and I've so many times where they put these older folks in the rest home, see? Because they want to sell their homes or something, see? Which means they ain't got no money, see? Put them in the rest home. And I know a couple, they end up with giving the home to a caretaker. See? And because I sing at the funerals of those, also see, giving the home, because they didn't want to go to the rest home. I want to die at home. And showed me pictures of how you had to take care of somebody who's kind of basically bedridden, but didn't want to go to the rest home. So when they had the funeral, when I'm going to sing at the funeral, I'll watch like the preacher, and sometimes I'll say, well, he's trying to preach a sermon and ain't no love in there at all. See, because the family's up front, they ain't getting nothing. The person is in the back, already, the property turned over to that person and her family. Mm-hmm. I've seen everything, and if like when I talked there, I was thinking about how I sang the last song that I was singing. I'm gonna sing it right before I finish also. That when I go on all of the gigs that I go on, the last song I do is "This Little Light of Mine." I'm gonna let it shine. And you can't, like when I'm out at Sagebrush or somewhere, and the stages are lit, but you can't see. It's dark out there. And the people that I ride with, they say, Al, when you do that song, everybody that place stands up. And many have got their lighters, this little light of mine, see. It always makes me feel good, because I always want to thank God for blessing me. You're blessing me for each day. And even in the mornings, when I say my prayers, it's my cats, I get up about 5:30, between 5:30 and 6, and the cats are so used to, say, man, he's been saying prayers a long time, man, But see, they don't move until I sing the song, just like you have here,
Exactly. Yeah.
every morning, that's their number. Oh, we can move, when he sings, that means we're getting ready to eat.
Yeah.
But no sense us coming out there yet until he finishes that song, But every morning, I do a little song after I pray for everybody, But God has been good to me and blessed me in so many ways. And like you guys, you guys have been so great, in what you've all done for me, and I'm just so thankful. I'm so thankful, and because I know if I don't, many and most of all the friends around here that we grew up with in school, many of them are gone. Most of them are gone. See, so I'm still here,
Yeah.
So who's going to tell the story?
Yeah.
You see, who's going to tell the story? So if I say God gave it to me, I'm going to let it shine.
You want to sing that
I'm going to sing a
now?
little bit of that song.
We can.
Oh, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. In this town of Osage, I'm gonna let it shine. Little town of Osage, I'm gonna let it shine. In this town of Osage, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Oh, God gave it to me, I'm gonna let it shine. God gave it to me, I'm gonna let it shine. God gave it to me, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Ooh.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
This has been real interesting, Al. Is there anything else that you want to show us?
Yes, with the, these, that's been things that I kind of put together, just to show many of the documents there, that these are those paper articles, that things that's going to be happening here at Osage. And then some of the monies that should be coming in here, that article was written. That's what we have here. And also, see, these just show some of the programs that I have worked on, that we talked about the singing group and things like that. And the governor bringing that check in, and the most folks down there at the bottom, they didn't realize that Governor Underwood would bring that check into Osage, West Virginia. And that's how that project got started, with that $1.5 million check that the governor brought in here to Osage. And these are all the singing groups that I've sang with for a number of years, and Joe Manchin's getting an award up there that they always invite me sometime to sing at those different places. And Osage there, that's my street fair shirt, which I do have one today. And these are the documentation of things that happened at the Public Service District down there. And this shows all the workings of what happened to me and Bob Martin. This needs to be read, and it'll probably be on the podcast of what happened, with our Public Service District.
Al, I want to thank you for stopping in today and telling us the story of how Osage had its demise.
Well, I want to thank you guys for being such great friends, first of all, that would come and do this for me, because I know this is going to touch somebody. This is going to make a difference on what things need to be and need to happen, and these stories need to be told. Osage, an old town like this, should not be just knocked out without this place growing back up as it was before. So I appreciate you guys so much. You can't even believe, all last night I wondered how this was going to work. But I tell you, it came out perfect, and I am so happy that you guys came today. Swifty and Mike, thank you all so much. I am so blessed.
Hope you enjoyed this, and for more information, listen to Al's podcasts. We'll see you next time.